Hi, everyone. We want to start out by thanking you for taking the time to watch these videos. We know it can be very time consuming this week, but trust us, the videos are going to be setting you up for success over the next 6 weeks. If you haven't had a chance to watch them all yet, no worries. Just loop back around this weekend so you'll know what we're doing during this program and the reasons behind it. If you are confused at any point, please ask questions so that we know where you're at and how we might need to improve our training going forward. Now, let's get into carb cycling, another key nutritional strategy of the faster way. Here's a brief overview of how and why we carb cycle. Carb cycling is simply a dietary approach of carbohydrate manipulation each week, where we are cycling through days of higher carb intake and days of lower carb intake. The benefits of this include improved insulin sensitivity, it regulates hormone output, it helps hunger control and sustaining you through the next day's fast, increase in metabolism, energy, and overall improvement in body composition. Carb cycling times our carb intake so that we can provide the maximum fat loss benefits. This is such an important component of this lifestyle, and it keeps your body on its toes. We don't want anyone living a low carb mentality. I know that some of you are coming from that lifestyle and may feel like carbs are the enemy, but they are not. What happens when you have a long-term restriction of carbs is that our metabolism will stall out and lower, negatively impacting your hormone levels. It's especially detrimental to women. If you live a low-carb lifestyle, your body will catch on to this because it's very smart, and it's going to hold on to those glycogen stores as fat more and more. So carbs are broken down into glucose, and glucose is stored in our bodies as glycogen. It's our primary energy source. So when we have a really low carb consistently, our bodies get used to that low number and it holds on to those stores. So it basically thinks you're starving your body from carbs and doesn't know when it's going to get any more. So it makes it really hard to burn fat this way. It can't get past that primary energy source and tap into your fat stores because it's focused on every single bit of carbs that you're putting into your body and storing it as fat for a rainy day. But when we manipulate our carb intake and mix low carb and high carb days, our body thinks that there's going to be an abundant supply of carbs and glycogen because it's used to getting them frequently now. So on low carb days, we're going to burn through glycogen fast because it thinks, no big deal, I'm going to get more. And our bodies continue to burn through glycogen and starts to tap into our fat stores for energy. Next day, or day 2 of our low carb cycle, it still thinks, no big deal. I'll keep using these fat stores because I know I'm going to get more carbs today. But then it doesn't happen again. So you're just firing through those fat stores because it doesn't have any glycogen left to burn. So we are basically outsmarting our bodies and thinking it's going to get all the carbs because the majority of the week it will. And then on the following day, we will refeed our body with all of those healthy carbs. So we're always going to have 2 low carb days back to back. And then on the third day, Wednesday, we'll be refueling. This process constantly keeps our bodies on its toes. A really cool thing about glycogen is that when we reintroduce those carbs on a regular macro day, we don't then store those carbs as fat because our body's primary fuel source is glycogen. So it wants to replenish those stores first rather than replenishing the fat stores. When we reintroduce those carbs back into our body, it will use that for energy and store glycogen before it ever stores fat. So don't worry, carbs are not the enemy. And cycling through our carbs is so productive and so good for you. We want you to have a better understanding of why we are doing what we're doing and what's happening inside your body because of it. Many of you are also coming to us because you have hit a weight loss plateau. But we promise that carb cycling and intermittent fasting are the 2 things that will push you past it. The other thing that we do with our carb cycling is that we pair our exercises intentionally with each day of eating to maximize the benefits of our cycle. So on our low carb days, Monday and Tuesday, we are going to be retaining our lean muscle mass and focus on high intensity interval or sprint training type of workouts. This will help us deplete our glycogen stores very quickly and really focus on burning fat on these days. And then on our regular carb days, which are Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, we're going to lift heavy so that we'll be building strong lean muscles. On these days, we will be breaking down the muscle fibers that our bodies will work really, really hard to rebuild. So it's going to be burning 3 to 4 times more calories on heavy weight training days. When you lift heavy, your body continues to burn those calories for hours after you work out. These workouts are the most important. So if you get anything in, choose those 3 strength days. Long gone are the days of hours upon hours on the treadmill or at the gym killing yourself. Thank goodness. So how do we effectively cycle our carbs, and what does that mean, and what does that look like for all of you? We will always have our 2 low carb days back to back, as mentioned, so Monday and Tuesday. And what this is going to look like is consuming less than 50 net grams of carbs. And net grams means total carbs minus your fiber. So on your MyFitness nutrient tab, you are going to, you screenshot for us, there is a total column telling you how many carbs and how many fiber grams daily. You just want to subtract those two. They're right next to each other, and that is your net carbs. So we really only want you to pay attention to the net carbs on low carb days. I also want to note that you can switch your days around during the week if needed, but I don't want to get things too confusing in the beginning when you're learning everything for the first time. But just know that if you do need to switch for any reason, you can do that as long as your 2 low carb days are always back to back. So on low carb days, remember to consume a ton more healthy fat in order to get your calories in for the day. So example, if your MyFitnessPal gives you a goal of, on your normal everyday, 50 grams of fat, you will probably want to double that and get to at least 100 grams. And don't be scared of this. That's what we want to see on your low carb days. Pay attention to those healthy fats because we have to make up for the calories that we are missing from the carbs. This is the only time during the week that we're really going to have you take a look at calorie consumption, just because we want to make sure that you're eating enough. A lot of clients will initially undereat on these days, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Always work on hitting your protein. You can actually always go about 10 to 20 grams above your goal, but not too much over that, because excess protein can turn into sugar in your body, and we don't want that. So make sure you're always hitting your protein, getting 50 net grams of carbs or less, and getting those fats way, way up. Like I said, probably doubling them for most on your low carb days to meet your goal. On Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, those are the easy regular macro days. So you're going to have the grams for each macro, your carbs, proteins, and fats are the ones we pay attention to, up to what your MyFitnessPal allows you to have that day. And again, everybody's goals are going to be different based on your specific info. Again, we won't normally focus on calories these days, because if you are getting all of your macros in, it's going to be right in line with your caloric goals. Saturdays are our leg weight training day. And so we're going to be working the biggest muscles in our body and burning the most calories. And this is the day that we practice if it fits your macros. So this is our treat day. Treat yourself to something that you want. Pick a donut, pizza, a few drinks, whatever you're craving. Just try and make sure it fits in your macros. As I mentioned before, we actually recommend you log your treat in first and then work the rest of your day around it to make it work for you. Allowing you to have treats and look forward to this day is so important to the sustainability of this program. Don't believe in limiting yourself. A lifestyle where you are completely cutting out your guilty pleasures won't work. That will never be sustainable or fun. You will learn to love this program because we'll teach you how to make those treats work for you. And if you get any workout in, remember, it's the most important to get that Saturday leg day workout in. And our last carb cycle is low macro, and that is going to be on Fridays and Sundays. You're going to consume 25% fewer macros. So if your goal is typically 100 grams of protein, for example, you're going to shoot for 75 grams on your 2 low macro days. So you're going to consume 25% fewer grams across all of your macros, your carbs, your fats, and your protein. We highly recommend figuring out your gram goals for these days and making a note in your phone to make it a little easier for you. This is also an active recovery day. We will not be exercising, and because of that, it's okay to consume fewer calories on those 2 days. You can do something low intensity like walking, yoga, etc. So again, just to recap, the cycle is as follows. On Mondays and Tuesdays, you're going to have your back-to-back low carb days. On Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays will be your regular macro day. So you'll follow exactly what MyFitnessPal has allotted for you. And then Saturday, again, is your leg day / treat day. It's the most important to get that workout in if you can only get one in. And then Fridays and Sundays are your low macro and active recovery or rest days. So as we go through this program, we're going to explain more of this and can help you with the math on your low macro days. There's more information coming, but we just wanted to give you a brief overview of what carb cycling is and why we do it. I hope this makes sense and helps you understand why we do what we do, the science part behind it, and how it works together for you. You have all been amazing this week. We are so thrilled for each and every one of you. Let's crush this program together, and we cannot wait to see your results at the end of this. As always, post any questions in the thread about any of the things that we've already talked about so far this week. There will be one more video tomorrow morning talking about exercise. We are so excited for Monday. Can you believe that we are more than halfway through prep week? I can't. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and we will look forward to hearing from all of you very soon. Goodbye.